Kelley Hobart from Alpaca Direct, and I'm here with a nice blanket that I did this week. And it is a wonderful pattern, and you can find it on Ravelry. It's called the Chevron Baby Blanket, and it's designed by Melissa Clulow. I don't know if I crucified that or not, but it's also by E-Space Trico. And this is a free pattern, as I said, and it is a chevron. And see how it has some beautiful colors in here? And it has this center double decrease line going down the front, and it starts off with stockinette stitch. So I have done this blanket several times, and I know that when I have stockinette stitch, it rolls. So I have learned by doing blankets in the past that I changed the bottom a little bit. So if you look at these two blankets, this is the one that I did this week, and it's using Kabasi Plus by Haiku. And I wanted to show you how beautiful their colorways are. Here's one colorway that I thought was kind of cool. And let me talk about this Kabasi Plus while you're looking at these different colorways. It is by Haiku or Skacel. And let me tell you what the content is. You can see it on here. It's 55% cotton, 16% bamboo, 21% elastic and nylon, and 8% silk. And what I love about this product is because it has cotton in it, it's a good summer yarn. Also, it has bamboo, which is super soft, and it almost feels like silk, so it's totally wonderful. So, and then it has nylon that helps it with its longevity. So when we're talking about blankets and we're thinking about babies born this spring, we're talking about a lot of knitting. So we often have a problem, and that is how to get the blanket done in time before the baby's born. I don't know if any of you out there, have any of you out there had projects that you were working on and never finished it when the baby was born? Okay, so I have, and I'm sure several of you out there have. So this helps you solve that problem because this pattern is a 2-row repeat. It's totally awesome. So 2 rows means that you can easily, you only have to memorize 1 row for the repeats, and it's 24 stitches, and then on the way back you purl, right? So I told you in the beginning that we changed the edge because it tells you to start right off with the pattern in the beginning. And let's take a look at this actual pattern so you can see what I'm talking about. So, like I said, it's a 2-row repeat. All right, on row number 1, a right-sided row, it is knit 1, slip, slip, knit, knit 9, yarn over. Then you have your 24 stitch repeat, and then at the last 13 stitches, you're going to be going knit 1, yarn over, knit 9, knit 2 together, knit 1. So we have 12 stitches to start, 24 stitches in the center, and 13 stitches at the end. Now, for those of you out there that like putting stitch markers, that's where I put my stitch markers. I would put it after the first 12 stitches, and then every 24 stitches for however many repeats you have, and then a stitch marker right before the last 13 stitches. Now, on row number 2, which is a wrong-sided row, it tells you to purl all the way back. Now on this pattern, it says purl yarn overs through the back loop. Don't forget to purl your yarn overs through the back loop, because you know what happens if you don't purl those yarn overs through the back loop? You have nice little holes. And it looks okay, but for babies to wiggle their little tootsies and get them stuck in a hole, it's not as cool. So when we're looking at this pattern here, this is a center double decrease, and this is where we have our yarn overs, and you see how small the holes are because I was purling them through the back loop on the way back. So, and then I told you on my edges here, instead of purling back, I would knit back. Now on this pattern right here, the blue and white one, this is a great project to do for someone who is in a military family. I thought it was kind of cool to have this blue and off-white. And I did on these edges, you can see how it's not as pointed. Do you see how it's not quite as pointed? here as it is here. That's because I didn't actually follow row 1 of the pattern. I just knit a row and then turned it and then knit a row and made a garter stitch edge. And then I started with my pattern up here. So then on here I thought, well, maybe I'll do my centered double decreases, and that made it a little more pointed and a little more accentuated. It's all in what you would like to do, but having these patterns that are in 1 or 2 rows is awesome for working in open knit groups or being able to complete them on time before the baby's born, right? So on this little throw that I have done here, it's a little bit smaller, and I got this idea from Tara, who works here at Alpaca Direct, and she was holding her grandson, and she had this nice little blanket that goes right over the baby's lap to keep it warm, but it's kind of small. And I thought, ooh, that's kind of cool because it's not as much knitting, and where do you find a blanket that's sort of small that makes a perfect car seat blanket or a stroller blanket? I don't know if any of you out there have taken your grandbabies on walks, but if you have a big old blanket, we seem to get ours stuck in our wheels, right, Jim? Mm-hmm. So having this like a stroller blanket that's a little bit smaller that can cover their lap and keep them nice and cozy, but it's not too much, makes it easier to carry. So I thought that was totally cool. Plus, I was able to get it done this week, right? So that was totally cool. And I love the Skissel has so many bright, beautiful colorways. Back to a couple more color options that I saw that it might be nice would be like maybe this one. It's similar to the one that I'm doing now. Instead of the orange, I put some green in there. I thought that was cool. And then on this one has pink, purple, and blue. I thought that was kind of cute.
What's the yarn called?
This is called Kabasi Plus, and it's a machine washable yarn with cotton and bamboo and silk and nylon. And it has a really nice twist on it, so it's completely durable, but if you can feel it, it has some stretch to it. Not like normal cotton, it has stretch to it. And so it's cozy and it's comfortable too. And machine washable. And bright, bright colors. So I really, really like that. I think Skissel does an excellent job in their colorways in providing lots of options for us. Now, when I was knitting mine, I did one skein of each color. So I had one skein of the orange, one skein of the white, one skein of the blue, and then I had 2 skeins of the pink because I did pink at both edges, right? So that's why I had to use just a tiny bit more pink. Barely broke into that next skein. But so basically, you have 4 skeins plus a little tiny bit extra. So it is not too much to be able to knit. So it's totally awesome. So I cast on the 121 stitches, which was the required amount. As you're going along, don't forget to tell us where you're from. Maybe you can post comments in the comment section and let us know what you're working on. I love knitting ideas, and I love learning from you guys because there are a lot of talented knitters that join in on our group. And don't forget to let us know what's on your needles, of course, what you're working on today, and to share and with your friends so they can learn too. Now, a couple of things that I wanted to remember, Jim, is our options for last week's prize was this lovely Courtelaine, and it's called Bravo Petites. And oh my, this is from Peru.
What is it?
From Peru.
What kind of yarn?
And it's 100% baby alpaca. And it's a light worsted weight yarn. And it is some of the nicest, softest alpaca yarn I have felt yet. And I totally love it. So last week I had showed you these little hats. Oops, this has a little thing on it. These were the little baby Uggs that I did. And then I did this hat. Actually, this is a new one that I just got off my needles, because remember I told you I had changed the top just a little bit? So instead of putting 2 cables, I just put 1 set of cables in there. And it turned out really good. So I am totally excited about this. And we released this pattern last week. And what's the name of the pattern, Jim?
Claire's baby hat.
Yes, Baby Claire. That's going to be our new grandbaby's name is Claire. So I'm totally excited. And I'm knitting and working up a storm, knitting and sewing and doing all different kinds of stuff. So This was just one of the projects that I did this week. So let's, for 1 second, I wanted to take this pattern.
Oh, what's the prize for this week?
Oh, right. Good. I got sidetracked. The prize for this week was yarn. And we were thinking that maybe we would have this one is called Deep Turquoise or Hot Pink. Ooh,
Is it the
Hot
Kawasi
Pink.
Plus or what?
This is a Kawasi Plus, yes. And it has 162 meters or 177 yards. So it has pretty good yardage on it. And I really like this yarn. I would like to get it in your hands so you can try it. So you guys, you have to vote and tell me which one you think our customers would like. Would you guys like the Hot Pink? Or would you like the Deep Turquoise? And you choose, and next week we'll give that as the prize. Now, I also wanted to spend one moment and talk about this last month's knit kit. And here's our knit kit. And every month I try to incorporate new skills for you so that you can learn to knit these projects. And this last month, our project was learning how to cast on for 2 at a time in the round mitts and or mittens. So they could do this.
That's Kelley's Knit Club, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's our knit club. And if you like learning new skills, I do video tutorials for each little section so you can learn how to do these skills. So when you cast on for these mitts or mittens, it is kind of a tricky cast on because you're casting on for 2 of them at a time. And it's not quite as easy as that sounds. So you just learning that skill alone is totally awesome. But then you get to knit your project 2 at a time in the round and make these babies. And these are the mittens. And I thought I would give you an option of whether you wanted to do mittens or you could do the fingerless mitts. And I made them so they have rollover cuffs on either side. And I thought it was kind of cool because sometimes it gets really cold at night and you can just pull it out straight and tuck it up on the inside of your jacket to keep you warm. And if your fingers get cold, then you can pull that over your fingers to add some additional warmth to your fingers if it's really cold outside. So this was a really fun project to do. So every month I try to find a little something that's maybe a little different that you can enhance your skills and learn something new.
They learned thumbs, right? That was another.
Yes, and we worked on the thumb gusset. And if you look at the thumb gussets, you learn how to pick up the stitches and make it so, I wish you could feel it. It's not too thick. There's not hardly any mending at all in the center. So I talk about how to pick up those stitches and make it so that it looks pretty darn nice. So you have almost no mending on your thumb gussets, which is kind of rare because usually a lot of people would do thumb gussets and there's a huge hole right in the center. And it's learning how to deal with that can take a little skill to make it look good. So anyway, every month we do something. So this was the last month's knit kit. Now back to our projects. We are going to take a look at the pattern that I have chosen for this week. Oh, also on these color selections here. Now you can either do baked stripes. It says on here to do 10 rows in each color. So, but of course, I don't ever do anything exactly the way it tells me to. See, it's 10 rows in each color, and it starts with stockinette stitch. So I've already talked to you about how you can deal with the edges. And now, for the stripes, to make it interesting, I made a wider stripe and then a thinner stripe. Wider, thinner, wider. And these are all the same, the colored ones. And the white is 4 rows. I think this one is a total of 14 rows I did. And then I put a little extra edge on mine. If you see the edges, do you see the edges? I added that edge to the pattern.
What is it? What edge?
It's a knit one, slip one, knit one, slip one. I was just playing around with it again, and it just makes a nice edge. So anyways, let's take a look at this pattern real quick. And I thought maybe I would knit a little bit so that you can see how easy it is. And we can take a look at center double decreases, etc., etc. So I have done a couple rows already. starting my garter stitch edge, and I have one more section to go. And also I have on the very last stitch of each row, I slip the last stitch needle tip to needle tip or purlwise with the yarn in front, and what that does is makes a nice finished edge. So if you're not going to do this kind of edge, you could just slip it. See how this edge has a little tiny slip to it? You can do that and it looks really nice. So that's what I was just talking about. So let's see if we can take a look at our pattern here.
What does the CDD do? What's the purpose of that stitch?
The center double decrease. It makes this line that stands out right here. Do you see? And it goes straight up the center. It doesn't lean to the right and it doesn't lean to the left. It goes straight up the center and leaves just a nice bold line up the front. And a center double decrease, of course, is a 2-stitch decrease. Okay? So now I know that I'm on the right side of my work because when I cast on, I was using my tail for the cast on. So it is on the right side of my work. A lot of times I'll identify that. So I'm keeping my pattern handy here so that I can see it. And the first thing that I'm going to be doing is going knit 1. And then it says slip slip knit, which is a 1-stitch decrease. And there are at least two different ways to do a slip slip knit. But on this pattern, it tells you to slip a stitch as if to knit, slip as if to knit, hold those 2 stitches in the front, and then knit 2 together through the back loop. That is a slip slip knit. Then it says knit 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, then we're going to do a yarn over. Then we're going to slip our stitch marker, which is just a place marker, if you will. And then we're going to go ahead and knit 1, and we're going to yarn over, and we're going to knit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now on the pattern it says mitered decrease, but a mitered decrease is also called a centered double decrease. So the first thing that you do is slip 2 stitches as if you're going to knit 2 together, and you slip them from the left hand needle over to the right hand needle. Now you knit 1 stitch. Once you have knit that 1 stitch, you grab those 2 slip stitches, and as if you were going to bind them off, bring them up and over the stitch that you knit and off the needle, and you see how it's starting to make a line going up the center. Now you would knit 10 more. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, right here is this part, right here on the pattern. That's where the yarn overs are. So we go yarn over, slip your marker, knit 1, yarn over, and then knit 10 again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, again, we are ready to do that centered double decrease or a mitered decrease. So we slipped 2 stitches from the left hand needle to the right hand needle as if you're going to knit 2 together. You would knit 1 and grab those 2 slip stitches up and over the top of that stitch that you knit and off the needle. And that's what the centered double decrease looks like. Now let's go ahead and knit 10 more. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now this is where we do the yarn over, knit 1, yarn over. Now when there are 13 stitches remain, we are going to be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, right? Then we're gonna go knit 2 together, and then instead of knitting 1, I'm gonna slip that last stitch from needle tip to needle tip or purlwise with my working yarn in front to get that nice slip stitch edge. Now I'm gonna turn my work. For the very last time here, I'm just going to, instead of purling all the way across, I'm gonna knit all the way across, and I'll show you what my edge looks like. And then I'm gonna begin my regular pattern with my right-sided row, following the pattern as written, and then my wrong-sided row, instead of knitting, now I will be purling as written. Now right here, I've knit all the way till I got to that yarn over, and it says to purl it through the back loop. Now remember, this is the last row of my garter stitch edge, so I'm going to be knitting through the back loop. To knit a yarn over through the back loop, you just grab the back strand and knit it, and that is knitting it through the back loop. What it does is it closes up the hole. Here's another yarn over, so I can show you how to do that once more. I'm going to be knitting, grabbing the strand, knitting it through the back loop to twist that yarn over and close up the hole. So let's go ahead and finish here. And this will be the edge of my blanket completed. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the pattern as written. And I will not have the problem of having a stockinette stitch edge which curls. And a lot of people, if you read the reviews on Ravelry about the Chevron blanket, they're like, how do I keep my edge from curling? Well, I am teaching you, by doing this, you will have an edge that does not curl the way that stockinette would. That's knitting your yarn over through the back loop, knit one more yarn over through the back loop, and then just continue knitting until you get to another yarn over, and then you'll knit it through the back loop. So for this sample, I only cast on 2 repeats of the chevron pattern plus my edge stitches. But if you want to increase the pattern size, the center repeat for the chevron pattern is 24 stitches. So if you wanted to increase the have another chevron or have it a little bit wider, you have to increase it by 24 stitches at a time. And this would also make a really super nice throw for your lap. And it's a great project to do when you're doing in open knitting or when you're with your buddies and you want to visit, because you can do it without thinking, because the one row repeat is very repetitive and easy to remember, because you basically have 10 stitches between each center double decrease or yarn over. And then at the very end, it tells you to, oh yeah, but we're on this garter stitch, we're not going to be doing that. We're just going to be knitting across. Whoops, and we're going to slip the last stitch. So let's take a look here. See how I have my chevron starting? And this is the yarn over section. So I'll just go ahead and start the pattern from here, and you can see that I have my cast on edge plus 2, 4, 6 rows. And you can either make it 4 rows and just begin from there, or you can make it more. It's totally up to you, whatever look that you like. But this will keep your project from rolling on the edge, and you can enjoy knitting that blanket and have your edges not in stockinette stitch, so you don't have to worry about those curling edges. You can have super, super nice edges on your blanket. And if you wanted to, you can knit it with the recommended 121 stitches like I have, or you can make it wider like I have with this blue one and make it more of a crib size blanket. It's totally up to you. But I love using the Kabasi Plus. It is a machine washable yarn, great for summertime. It has bamboo in it, which is super soft. It's very similar to wearing silk, except for it has some really nice properties to it. It's super, super soft. If you haven't used bamboo before, it is definitely a luxury fiber. And don't forget, when you are working on these projects, make sure that you practice every day. Try not to learn more than 2 new skills at a time if possible. And try to pick 3 projects using that skill so you can cement it in your memory so you can learn and you don't have to look it up every time. It's totally cool. I love not having to look things up every time because I know how to do this stuff. And so when I'm in the airplane, right, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe not in the airplane so much right now because of the coronavirus, right? We're a little scared of that. But anyways, so I hope you guys have a great week. And don't forget.
You got your prize, too.
Vote. Yes, we're going to be talking. The prize for this week, let me find the winner of this prize. I know it. Oh, Jean Bruce. Yay, you won. This is the Bravo Alpaca Petites. And Jean, you won. And your last name is Bruce. Jean Bruce, you won. So all you have to do is contact customer service and give us your address. And we can get this shipped out and mailed to you. You're going to love this baby alpaca. I love it.
It's 100%, right? So.
It's 100% baby alpaca, and it's made in one of the best factories in Peru. It is not made in China.
Why do you like it? Because you keep talking about how much you keep knitting everything with it. Why do you like it so much? Just try to explain to them.
I wish I could show you. But I have been doing these baby blankets, these baby hats and stuff, and I'm using ribbing, which is my favorite way to work with baby alpaca. And this one, I put it on a smaller needle. I started with the number 4, and this top I was supposed to knit with the number 6. And of course I messed it up because I used a number 5. But it'll still work great for the baby hat. It still has plenty of stretch. But it just feels so fantastic. And the fact that it is a hollow core fiber, it is one of the warmest fibers in the world. I don't know, it just has some, this is extra nice yarn. And I'm really happy to have it. I think it's just behaving so nicely, and it's such a pleasure to knit. I could just knit with it all day. Oh, as a matter of fact, I have on many occasions. So it's totally fantastic. Oh, now, was there anything else that I forgot, Jim?
Have them vote one more time on this week. So
yes, Kabasi Plus. Can you guys let me know which one you think that we should provide for the winner of next week for the hot pink or our deep turquoise colorway in this Kabasi Plus? It's a fantastic yarn. If you haven't tried this yarn before, Jim, are you going to be having it on a little bit of a special for us?
I hadn't planned on it. Do you want me to?
Oh, yes. You guys, do you want the Kabasi Plus to go on special so that we can try it out? You guys vote. Get Jim and busy so that he can put it on special for us. And then you guys can try it out. So don't forget, the baby blanket, if you have a baby blanket that you want to do and you want to get it done, and not have to worry about it getting done after the baby's born, take a look at this pattern. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and it is super fun. I've made it like 4 times now, so that tells you how much I like it because I've done it so many times. For this next week, I think I may be doing more baby booties. I'm thinking that this would make a set of baby booties. This would make a set of baby booties, and this would make a set of baby booties. So I could do baby booties. Also, I could combine them all together and do a sun hat. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think I should do baby booties or a sun hat? You guys vote and let me know, and I will do what you think you might like because I can do either of them. It would be fun for either one of them. But a sun hat would be kind of cute to match the blanket.
Oh, yeah, for the baby.
Don't you think a sun hat would be cute to match that? Maybe I can do a sun hat and pink baby booties. Because remember, on this yarn right here, look how much pink I have left. I could do some booties and do part of a hat. Well, anyways, I'll be doing something. And so you guys meet back with me 9:30. Gosh, we're almost already at the end of the month. This time flies when you're having fun. So all of you out there, stay safe. And I will talk to you next Tuesday. You take care.